Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again. And after yesterday's video, I got this response overnight of I'm the problem. So since they think I'm the problem, I want to be the problem. You know, you ain't seen a problem yet, you know. Um, when they came after me, they did it in the shadows, okay? Um, they went through my family and they went digging and they went through my family and they went telling stories and they went twisting motives and they went rewriting narratives and they went around my family to my neighbors and to my friends and to my colleagues and to my teachers and to my priests and to everyone, and they told these stories on the authority of my family who didn't know what they were talking about, you know. When when you go in, it's real easy to make someone say something bad about someone else, you know. You go in and you tell this person that they said a lie about you. You go in and tell this person that they revealed your sins, right? Um, Yesterday I told you I covered my brother's sins. I let him run his game in the family, you know. And so I kind of get why these people would say I'm the problem. But here's the problem. You didn't have jurisdiction in my family. You didn't operate under the same set of standards that I operate under. So when you came in and you looked at this stuff, you didn't consider that maybe I love my family, maybe I knew they were snakes, maybe I let them be as they were and I limited the their exposure to my children and to my life on the outside world, you know. I I didn't mix the outside world with my family, you know. So when you say I'm the problem, it's not I'm the problem. It's you wanted to be justified for murder. You wanted to take my life and you wanted to make it so you were justified. So you went digging. You went digging so that you could come up with some crime, so that you could slay my character. And the best way that you could slay my character was to call me a drunk, though I don't drink. Call me a drug addict, though I never did drugs. Say I drink coffee. I detest coffee. I've never drank coffee in my life. It's disgusting to me. Don't even get me started. I'll snap off on you on coffee worse than I would if you said I drink, you know, because I have had a pina colada. You know, I've had maybe 5 of them in my lifetime, but those are darn good. And if I had the opportunity to have another, I sure would have me a pina colada, you know? What the heck? I'm an adult. I'm allowed to drink. I'm of age. There's no error in drinking, you know? But I'm not a drunk. I've never been a drunk. I've always been a one-drink kind of girl. But say I'm a coffee drinker and you got another thing coming to you because there is no brand, no flavor, nothing you could do with coffee that would make me like it. You put it in cake. I don't like cake. You put it in another dessert, tiramisu. I don't like tiramisu. I don't like the smell or the flavor of coffee. Stop with your lying accusations, you know? You want to say that I take all these lavish vacations. I take all these lavish vacations when I can't even afford to get my own health in order. This goiter down here, this is my thyroid out of whack from not having my medication for more than a decade, you know. Yeah, it affects my appearance. Yeah, it affects my desire to want to come in front of the camera, you know. That is something that I need to get fixed, but I can't get fixed. Why? Well, one, I don't have the money to go to the doctor, and number two, I'm scared to death to go to the doctor because y'all run these Nazi games. It's not right. It's not fair. It's not just. I'm tired of the nonsense. I should have had my health taken care of, but I can't because you exploit doctors and they bow down to you, and it's like Nazi Germany on repeat, okay? It was Hitler that exploited the doctors and the nurses and the teachers to get their agenda across, to defraud people of life, and not only defraud them of life, but take their lives from them, just throw them in the gas chamber because there's nothing else we can do with them. So I understand like where you're going with your agenda because what you're doing has been done before and how it ended, you know, I don't want to go there. So let's call you out on what you're doing right now. It's ridiculous. The lies you tell are ridiculous. And you can say that, oh, my brother said, oh, my brother's a liar. my brother is actually a pathological liar. He watches a lot of documentaries, nature stories, and he picks up things so he can sound smart when he talks, but actually he's a pathological liar. You don't know my brother. And of course, the devil always wants to give you his identity. And I never tried to kill my brother before because I know my brother. I don't fall prey to his nonsense. I see other people falling prey, and I don't feel responsible to go in and stir up drama and stir up chaos and nonsense to say, hey, he's a pathological liar, let's go kill him, because they like him. He's entertaining. Pathological liars are entertaining. And people need to, decompress sometimes with entertainment. So, you let stuff go. I don't need to kill my brother, okay? But you're not going to give me his clothes. I'm not going to wear them because I don't have the character to hold what he holds. I can't go in there and schmooze people. I can't go in there and do that. I don't have the character for it. I'm a nice person. People like me for me. When they do like me for me, until you get a hold of them and change the narrative, and then all of a sudden they want to kill me because they think I'm a scammer, when no, really, you're just trying to give me my brother's clothes. No, no, no. We're not going to do that anymore. I'm not the problem, but I will be the problem if you continue doing what you're doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've had enough. We're done with nonsense. Okay? Now, as far as the other thing they were trolling me on, replacement theology, because supposedly Jesus took the place of Moses or whatever. However they get their doctrine going, let me tell you something. It is not replacement theology, because I will tell you that the Jews are right in so many things, and if you had listened to them, you wouldn't be in the state that you're in. Their laws on Lashon Hara, how you don't talk bad about people, how you don't believe people, how you encourage people to develop their character, how you encourage people to work on themselves and do charity, to lift up their brothers around them, to not tax their brothers with things, to not try to devour their neighbors, but rather to lift them up. Because when our neighbor rises, we rise with them. We build a better world, we all get better. If you had followed them, you'd be in a better position, but you haven't. So there's a problem there. And I'm not saying I'm here to replace them. I'm not. We're different nations. I'm kin to them. They're my brother, but we are different in that they believe if someone's coming to kill you, you rise up and kill them first. You give everything. Now, I don't believe in laying down my life for someone, though I have. Though I have covered where it needed to be covered, but I didn't think that it was a tax on my life force until right now, where you idiots up top think that you're going to run on a cause with lies and baseless accusations. This is where it becomes a problem. And it's not that I need to rise up and kill my brother. It's that I need to tell you that you're wrong in the way that you're operating. Because all you're doing, you're not trying to bring justice. You're trying to justify murder. That's wrong. I'm not killing you for it. I'm telling you stop. Knock it off. Don't do this nonsense. You're not slick in the shadows. I see what you're doing. I see who you are. I'm going to drag you into the light. I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to stand in the light and be seen for who you are. Can you survive as you are and continue on as you are in the light, or do you have to change? I know you got this mentality that says real power is in the shadows. It survives longer because it stays hidden, but that's BS. Real power stands in the light. Real power can be who they are with everybody's eyes upon them. Real power doesn't have to preserve their life by working through other people. Real power doesn't need an army. Real power can say that these guys over here, I don't need to join them. In Israel, I don't need to join them. They are my brother, but I don't need to join them. And I'm not putting them down. I recognize them. I lift them high. I say if you had followed them, you'd have been all right. I'm not replacing them. Get that straight. But I cannot keep the same laws that they have because God has put other constraints on me of, hey, you're not allowed to kill your brother. Hey, you gotta choose what's important in life. And if you will suffer for God, you will overcome. So if you let your brother be the pathological liar that he is and entertain people, You choose your suffering. You are invoking covenant here. You're not trying to get a piece of him. You don't need to devour him to preserve your integrity. You choose to suffer for God, and you do get to overcome. There's a difference. I got to explain it to you here because you're putting me on trial. You're putting me on the spotlight, and I can explain it. I can explain my motivations. Um, my God, he doesn't make martyrs. He does not make martyrs. But there is this one thing that he wants you to do, and that is he wants you to suffer for him. Now, with the Jews, they will tell you that this is plan C, that they have other ways of bringing about redemption, that you can develop your character, that you can, give charity, suffering for them is plan C. But see, I didn't know their covenant when God gave me mine. So suffering for me is plan A. Suffering for me is keeping the word of God, to keeping his direction, to not rising up to kill my brother, but to try to put some hedges around him, especially when he's gone too far, especially when he used to talk about my mom saying, I'm never going to have anything to do with her. And when he was saying these things, my other siblings also refused to have anything to do with her. They also saw that she was so bad and everything that she did wrong. But it wasn't until I went over his attention and take it from let's destroy mom to, hey, mom made mistakes in her life. You made mistakes in your life. It's wrong to sit like this, It's wrong to do things to other people. That she has to live with the consequences of her life from inside. That she doesn't need the extra condemnation from us, That is our mom. That is the only mom we're ever going to have. And we should preserve her life because, even though she did all these things, she was also the mom who would show up with soup when you were sick. She was also the mom who would stand by you. And she stood by Tommy through so much stuff defending him. Tommy could do no wrong and everyone else was wrong, I know because I used to call her when I was little and beg her to make it stop. And I was the one who wound up in the therapist's office, I was the one painted as the problem when I was little, But I stopped being like that, and I start putting up these hedges that say you keep these standards, that we don't eat people, Don't do that. Why are you going to do that, And I didn't have to use a lot of words. All I got to do is give them a look like, are you kidding me, Like, no, 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 I'm not falling for that. I'm not coming into that game, And it kind of makes them change course. It kind of helps them to be a better man. So I don't need to fight him. I don't need to devour him. I just need to give him a little law to put him right back in the right place. And that requires me not to take offense at anything that he says. That requires me to embrace the suffering, and so that I can do the right thing here. So that I don't think that just because he's trying to kill something I love he's trying to kill me, that I need to kill him. But no, rather I need to put some hedges around him. Why? Because God said don't kill him. God protested when he took that plea bargain. God protested that they would kill him, And so I made this deal with God, and I said, don't let him hurt children anymore. But this little fancy, he used other people's hands to hurt my kids. He came up with these stories to weaponize people against me. And because these people were gullible over here, and either they believed the lie or they just didn't care. And they just decided they were going to get power out of here. They enjoyed the camaraderie of the attack, They enjoy the unity that they feel when they find an enemy. And this is the only way that they can come together and feel like a community, like a team, is when they're attacking someone. And I'm here to say, put a hedge on this and say, no, 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 no. See, we don't get better by devouring one another. You can't eat me based on what my brother said. It doesn't matter if you try to make it look like it's true, by soliciting the kids in my neighborhood to come and be my daughter's friend so that they can take her out to Taco Bell or take her out to Starbucks, You can't make something look true, because then the truth comes back to smack you in the face and say, no, I don't drink coffee. I never made Mexican food for my kids. My kids don't eat Mexican food. Don't play with me. You're just working the appearance. It's like I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death. It's only a shadow because they're just talking nonsense. They're defrauding me of life through other people, cutting me off from opportunities, you see. And I'm not trying to kill them. I'm exposing them. I'm dragging them into the light, because the light has a way of pushing back the darkness. And if the darkness refuses to go back, then the light illuminates what the darkness is doing. You know, you don't want to trample on the light, because you can't snuff me out. You know, that flame in me is the fire of God. You know, you're not going to be able to get me. You know, they keep telling me, where do I get my power? And it's like, oh, Samson, what's the source of your strength? I'm like, I recognize that question. Y'all are kind of ridiculous. You really don't change, do you? My power is God, you know. The covenant that I carry, it's not in exile, you know. The Jews over in Israel, their covenant's in exile. Mine is not, you know. So when you want to know where my power comes from, it comes from God. When you want to attack me like this, understand that my God is the God of truth, and he will not allow these things to stand, you know. If I allowed these things to stand, he would kill me. I have been pierced for other people's sins. I know how you can shift the blame from one thing to another. See, I understand that you're operating on a twisted form of Torah. I don't have sacrifices in my covenant. I don't. The Jews did. If you want to sacrifice, then take them out of exile. Lift them up as the people they are. They can restart their temple. They can put your guilt on a lamb. You know, they can put your guilt on the offering that you bring, but they don't do human sacrifice. They have their limits, you see. Y'all don't do the blood of bulls and goats and lambs. Y'all do human sacrifice. You want people to carry your sin, and we cannot. We cannot. The sacrifice that you're saying to do, we cannot do. You want to sacrifice, go restore the temple and let them restart doing the lambs and the bulls and the birds and whatever else have you, you know. But there's in my covenant, there is no sacrifice here. And I understand that the world's in exile and men get to run things. But when you come over here with me, I'm not in exile. So we're going to return back to the ways of God. And I will respect your order to one extent. You know, what does the law say about it? Does the Constitution say that we allow for sacrifice? No, it does not. So here in America, we're not. In your religion, does it say that sacrifice is allowed? Well, your religion, you're Christian, Jesus said, unless you eat me, you won't have life. And you kind of transferred eating him to eating the people, you know? You kind of transferred this thing. And we're saying if Jesus was enough, then you wouldn't need to eat the people. But apparently Jesus isn't enough for you. So now you got to go eat the people. And here I am to tell you no. If this is the order that you want to keep up, where you have human sacrifice through Jesus, you stick with Jesus. You don't go eating the people. And I know, Jesus said there's no greater honor in life than to lay down your life for your friends. But it's not like that. It's like this. I'm not dying to make you look to maintain your evil. I'm not going to lay down my life for you to continue on as you are. But I will not kill you to preserve my own life if you're willing to change. And I'm telling you, if you want a sacrifice, our Constitution doesn't allow it. We have a separation of church and state, so where's your church? If you're in this Christian church, then you're saying, I'm going to eat Jesus. If you're with the Jews, you got to restore their temple so that they can, sacrifice the bulls for you again. But we're not going to eat Jesse to satisfy your guilt. I am not your guilt offering. I do not belong to you. You don't have jurisdiction over my covenant. You will not set the terms on my covenant, It is ridiculous for you to think that you will, because I'm going to tell you, you can try, but you will not succeed. You can plot and scheme. You can have all the army you want. I will stand alone on my own, and I will still tell you, no. No, you do not get to set the terms on my covenant. If you kill me, we will die together. Prosperity is linked in this way. If you kill me, we will die together. But here's the difference between me and you. I will rise. You will not recover. Why? Because God says, if I will suffer for him, I will overcome. That is the power of covenant. You don't have access to it, So if you want to live, if you want access to what I carry, then there are rules, sweetheart. You don't get to come at me lawless and think you get to run me, because you don't. And you can call me the problem because I'm not giving you power, but you're not going to get power from me. You might get mercy from me, but you will not get power from me. You understand? My covenant does not allow it. You want to tap what I carry? Follow rules. Keep laws. If you don't, enjoy the trouble that God will send to you. Let me know when he troubled you enough, and maybe I'll have mercy on you. But we're not doing this thing, right? And don't try to play people against me by saying she's trying to replace you, because Jesse don't have nothing to do with who they are. Jesse honors people for who they are, and I already told you, you want to go that way, rebuild their temple. Take them out of exile. Let them, because they actually have to be reconciled with God through the sacrifice, They have to come out of exile through the sacrifices, The temple has to be rebuilt. They actually have to do these things, I don't. I'm not in exile. I don't have to do those things. But I understand their covenant enough. Jesse loves policy. Jesse loves laws. Jesse loves to see how things work and where things are wrong and how we do things right, And there are ways that the Jewish people have that are not wrong for them, but they are wrong for me, because it would put me in a conflict of interest with the covenant that I carry. So no, it's not replacement theology. Even if God calls me Israel, I didn't demand for the world to call me Israel, and I didn't say that I replaced their covenant. I said we are two different things. And there is a big difference between replacing and recognizing. And what's more is, I believe we are stronger together, So I wouldn't want to cut them down. I wouldn't, cut them down and erect statues saying that the old way is dead. That's stupid, That is not something that I would do, because I recognize that their ways of doing things actually preserves the goodness in the world. And yeah, they got some things with them, especially where Rambam said you don't need to study Torah just for an hour, only from his sefer, and then the rest of the time devote yourself to philosophy. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that, and I wouldn't follow Rambam, and I'm sorry if people find that offensive, but I understand philosophy too, and that is not an order that needs to be running the world, and apparently it's the order that is running the world. We're living in the construct of Aristotle and his underlings. We're living in an order that none of us understand, because the only people studying these things are people who are up here, and they really don't even understand what they're studying, but they're grabbing words and phrases and quotes from them, making themselves look wise. They're mesmerizing the people. But if they knew what they were drawing from, if they knew the fruit of that nonsense, they would understand that they need to put it down. Because in actuality, that's the order that took the Jews into exile. And not even they will recognize it because they've joined themselves to it for survival. I don't join myself to things for survival. That's where the Jews went wrong. Them alliances will get you in trouble. It may sound good, it might look good, but you don't understand that there's a light side and a dark side to the order. And their dark side kind of tries to eat the light side, It kind of uses the light as bait to draw people in, so that they can consume them. It's not a good thing. It doesn't do well for the character or the nature of people. It really doesn't, My favorite philosophy story is Plato's allegory of the cave, where the people are in chains and really all they have to do is to get up and walk away, because nobody's holding the chains. But then if you think on it a little longer, they've conditioned these people to sit. They have threatened them. They have isolated them. They have indoctrinated them. They have brainwashed them. Their chains may be coming from the inside, the one holding the chains, but it's all stuff that they put into them through their so-called wisdom, It's not freedom, it's bondage that you're walking into. They're promising you stuff, but it's empty promises, Stick with your own teaching, with the faith of your fathers, with the religion of your fathers, and then you understand how you get liberty from bondage through keeping these orders, through using this kind of judgment, judging with favor, versus making everything somebody's fault. Because that's basically what Plato's allegory of the cave teaches people, is that people are in their own prisons of their own making, and they're just too lazy or stupid or whatever their character defect is, or they can't get up and it's their own fault, and that's ridiculous. If we take the scales off our eyes, Torah has a way of taking the scales off our eyes because it commands us to judge with favor. In case you don't know, it's like a commandment. You're supposed to judge with favor, So when you're judging with favor, you're seeking understanding, and you're looking at how can I help them to get up. It's not their fault that they're down, but rather it's your responsibility to pick them up. Why? Because you're a servant of God. You're judging them with favor, and you're doing charity. You're helping them out of that pit, because when you lift your neighbor, we all rise together. That is the beauty of Torah. And when you let philosophy cloud your judgment, you forget to judge with favor. And then maybe you think Jesse's trying to replace you, and you don't understand that we are not in competition. You've been around a lot longer than I have. I have no say whether your nation survives or dies. That is in your hands and in the hands of God. But I can say, if people had listened to you, if your teachings had been supreme, if your teachings were the ones, peddled around all the institutions all over the world, instead of, Descartes and, Aristotle and Plato, we would be in a better position. And that's not me saying that I want to join you, because I can't, because you have to be all in when you're a Jew. But it's me saying that I recognize the benefit of Torah for the whole world, And it's me saying that I honor and I respect you. So these people who are spinning lies recognize that they're spinning their own poison, and they're trying to undermine and sabotage something beautiful. And I'm almost at 30 minutes, so I'm out of time. But I will say, you know, as I said in the beginning, my God doesn't make martyrs. So, he makes overcomers. So, if I die, my Jewish friends, tell them I died Kedusha Hashem. You know, I died blessing God, doing what he said, keeping his commandments. Because, you know, in the valley of the shadow of death, it looks like death's going to swallow you up. But really, it's only death's shadow. So I'm going to suffer for God and overcome. And if I don't, bless God. All right, have a good day. God bless.